in today's class we will look at some more approximate solutions, but this time we will take into account the pressure gradient term. In the last couple of classes we have ignored the pressure gradient, we have done the approximate solution for flat plate, and we have assumed say a linear profile, and we saw with the linear profile you get some kind of number which is in terms of the boundary layer thickness and the skin friction coefficient. They are a little bit off from the exact solution. If you assume a cubic profile, it is much closer. Okay, so it is something to do with the right boundary conditions that you are satisfying. So you start with the wall boundary conditions which are to be satisfied, and then go to the free stream boundary conditions. So if you satisfy those necessary boundary conditions, definitely your solution accuracy will improve. And today what we will do is we will extend this basic approximate methods to also non-Blachius cases, and we will start with a very general solution, and this solution is called as von Karman Polhausen method. Okay, so this is also an extension of the boundary layer integral method, but this is applied to any general case. Now you can think that this is a Falkner scan case. Instead of a similarity solution, we are doing this by the approximate methods. So this method was first introduced by Polhausen, so that's why it is named after him. And in fact, not only by that this name is given as Polhausen method, but also von Karman was involved, because it was von Karman who had given the idea to Polhausen. Von Karman was a student of Prandtl, and he gave the suggestion to Polhausen that we can extend these approximate solutions to a class of problems including the pressure gradient. So therefore this method was named after both these pioneers and called as von Karman Polhausen method. And this is a complicated method in terms of solution, so later on it was simplified considerably by a person called Waltz, and this came to be known as the Waltz approximation. Okay, so Waltz introduced a further approximation to the integral solution of von Karman and Polhausen. So in some books this is also referred to as Thwaite's approximation. Okay, Thwaite's approximation. So both mean the same thing, same kind of approximation they have introduced. Okay, so the basic assumption in this case, before we go into the von Karman Polhausen, let us rewrite the boundary layer integral equation for a generic case. So d by dx okay, so this was the generic momentum integral that we had derived, where what is your delta 2? This is your momentum integral. Okay, so 1 over you can write this as 1 over u infinity, or I will take the u infinity inside, so 0 to delta 1 minus u by u infinity into u by u infinity dy. Okay, and delta 1 is your, so this is your momentum thickness or momentum integral, this is your displacement thickness. Zero to delta 1 minus u by u infinity dy. Okay, so in the case of Blachius solution we ignored this term, and then we simply had only the momentum integral, and then we substituted the approximate profile and integrated it out. In this case we have to also retain the term which includes the displacement thickness. Okay, so now the next step what we are going to do is to make a guess for the approximate velocity profile. Now in this case you have included this term because your u infinity is going to be a function of x. So this includes any kind of general case including the Falkner-Scan wedge problem. Now in order to first substitute, we have to make a guess value. So what von Karman Polhausen did, okay, in fact Polhausen's profile was something like this. He used a fourth order quartic polynomial a plus b eta plus c eta square plus d eta cube plus e eta power 4, okay. So where your eta was defined basically as y upon delta, okay. So he assumed a fourth order polynomial, okay, not a linear, not quadratic, neither cubic, okay. So why he did it? In fact, so in order to satisfy what we call this important boundary conditions, and when you include also the pressure gradient, another boundary condition has to be satisfied, okay. We will see those following boundary conditions which have to be applied to find these coefficients. So at y equal to 0, so what is the boundary condition? U equal to 0, that is the first boundary condition, and at y equal to delta your u should be equal to u infinity. So two boundary conditions we have, so we need 3 more, okay. So at y equal to 0, what else? Okay, so d square u by dy square. Now in the case of Blasius solution we made this directly as 0 from the momentum equation, okay. So if you write the momentum equation at the wall, so at the wall the momentum terms, the inertial terms are 0, okay. So your friction term exactly balances your pressure gradient term, unlike in the Blasius case where this is 0 and therefore this is 0, okay. So you can write your nu d square u by dy square as 1 by rho dp by dx. So this is your condition at the wall, and also we know that outside the boundary layer, if you go out, if you write the momentum equation, there you don't have any frictional term and you don't have any v velocity, you have only the velocity in the x direction, okay. So that will be u infinity du infinity by dx should be exactly equal to a minus 1 by rho dp by dx, okay. So at y going to infinity, this is at y equal to 0, and we also have seen that in the boundary layer approximations your dp by dy equal to 0, therefore p is approximately the same anywhere, therefore we can replace this term 1 by rho dp by dx with u infinity. So this will be minus u infinity du infinity by dx. This is a very important boundary condition, okay. Now we have 3, so we need 2 more. So now at y equal to delta, what is the other boundary condition? This has to be anyway 0 because the profile velocity equals u infinities and there is no friction there, so outside the boundary layer, so it has to satisfy the 0 gradient condition, okay. And finally the last condition will be, so in terms of the order you see, we started with the wall, this is u equal to 0, and then so we don't know what is the gradient at the wall, but we have applied a second order derivative condition. At y equal to delta we know u equal to u infinity, we know the first order derivative should be 0, and again the curvature also. So this is how all the 5 conditions are put, and if you substitute these 5 conditions into the assumed profile, the fourth order polynomial, finally you will get the following profile. So which is of the form u by u infinity is equal to capital F of eta plus lambda g of eta. Now where your f of eta is nothing but 2 eta minus 2 eta cube plus eta power 4. Okay, g of eta is equal to 1 by 6 and finally your lambda is nothing but a non-dimensional parameter which is the ratio of the pressure force to the viscous force. It is written as del square by nu into du infinity by dx, which can also be written as minus del square by nu. So I can write my du infinity by dx as 1 by rho u infinity into dp by dx. So this will become mu into dp by dx. Okay. So is it clear? So I leave this as a exercise. In fact, I will give you as a part of the assignment where you can substitute these conditions and you can check if you will be finally reaching this particular profile. Okay. Now the thing is, this value, this lambda carries some meaning here. Okay. So typically if you are looking at adverse pressure gradient flows, so where your dp by dx is positive, so for flows with adverse pressure gradient, typically what should be the condition for lambda? If dp by dx is positive, then this has to be negative, okay, for favorable pressure gradient. So there dp by dx will be negative, so lambda should be greater than 0, and for flat plate case lambda should be equal to 0. Okay. So in fact if you put lambda equal to 0, this profile will become u by u infinity is capital F of lambda, so which is nothing but the flat plate profile that you get if you assume the quartic polynomial. Okay. So that is the check. Now so this is how you get it. Now you can also plot the value of u by u infinity as a function of eta. Okay. So eta along the y axis, so eta varies from 0 and 1, and same thing with u by u infinity. Okay. So now what I am going to do is I am going to plot this for different values of lambda. Now theoretically speaking, I do not know what is the extent of lambda. Okay. Lambda could range from minus infinity to plus infinity, but if I plot for lambda of some value like 30, what is observed is, so this is like 1.2, so this is for lambda equal to 30. So the value of u by u infinity crosses 1 somewhere, which is non-physical basically. With this kind of, this is an approximate profile, so you do not know where the profile will become physical and non-physical, but if you use very large values of lambda like 30, this becomes non-physical. Okay. So now if you go to smaller values, like for example lambda equal to 12, now this becomes well behaved, it goes smoothly to 1, and then lambda of 0, this is your Blasius profile, and lambda of say minus 12, so this is your lambda minus 12, lambda equal to 0, lambda equal to 12. Okay. So now you could have gone to various negative values, but we are just plotting till here. Now the reason why we are stopping at minus 12 is that you can check from the profile, you can check the condition for separation. Okay. So the condition for separation is what? Du by dy at y equal to 0 equal to 0. So if you put that condition and check, the value of lambda comes out to be minus 12. That is the lambda for criteria for separation. So that's why we are stopping it on minus 12. So if you go below minus 12, so the boundary layer would have separated and you cannot find solutions from the boundary layer equations. Okay, so that is the lower cutoff, and the upper cutoff is not 30 because it becomes non-physical, so we are stopping from the value of 12. So the lambda values that we are usually interested will range from minus 12 to 12. Okay, minus 12, that is the extreme case of separation, and even when you have very favorable pressure gradients, you should not have such large pressure gradients such that the profile becomes non-physical. Okay, so this is the condition under which you are doing the solution.
So what is condition of separation?
So condition of separation, that is this, we'll check that now. Okay, so let us check du by dy. So from this profile, that will be what, u infinity into, so this I can write as du by d eta into d eta by dy. Okay, so my eta is nothing but y by delta. So d eta by dy will be 1 by delta, so that will be this times, so you have to differentiate f, which will be 2 minus 6 eta square plus 4 eta cube plus lambda into g eta. Okay, if you differentiate that, you will get lambda by 6, 1 minus 6 eta plus 9 eta square minus 4 eta cube. Okay, so now du by dy at y equal to 0, nothing but du by dy at eta equal to 0 here, which is u infinity by delta into all these terms get knocked off 2 plus lambda by 6. The condition for separation is this should be 0, therefore lambda will be minus 12. This is why we are stopping there. Okay, so we will restrict our values of lambda to between minus 12 and 12 for most of the cases that we are interested. Okay, so now we have estimated the approximate profile. So this is how Polhausen did. He assumed a quartic profile, and then he restricted the values of lambda because this is the separation case and the other one goes non-physical beyond that, and then this profile is now substituted into the momentum integral equation. Okay, so if you now substitute this, so first we calculate the momentum and the displacement thicknesses from the profile. So first if I substitute, okay, let me call this profile as let me call this as number 1. Okay, this is number 2, 3, and this is profile is number 4. Substitute 4 into 2 and 3 and calculate your delta 1 and delta 2. So we will get delta 1 by delta. So what I am going to do, I am transforming my variable y in terms of eta. Okay, so this will be dy by d eta into d eta. So dy by d eta is nothing but delta. Okay, so therefore I can bring that delta in the left hand side. So this will be delta 1 by delta, will be, the limits will become now 0 to 1 into 1 minus u by u infinity, which will be 1 minus this profile right here, which is f of eta minus g of lambda into g of eta. Okay, now if you substitute this profile and you integrate it out, you will find that this comes out to be 1 by 10 into 3 minus lambda by 12. Okay, let us call this as number 4. Okay, this is number 5. Alright, so similarly if you substitute into the momentum thickness and integrate it, this is 0 to 1 minus f of minus g lambda g of eta, sorry, into f of eta plus lambda into g of eta d eta. So if you integrate it out, this gives delta 2 by delta as 1 by 63 37 by 5 minus lambda by 15 minus lambda square by 144. So this I will call as equation number 6. So what I am doing is I am just estimating an expression for the momentum thickness and the displacement thickness in terms of lambda. Okay, because now lambda is a function of x, strictly speaking. If you look at a particular problem and if you define your x like this and your u infinity is a function of x, your lambda is also a function of x. So because your boundary layer thickness changes with x, and so is your displacement thickness and momentum thickness, so everything is a function of lambda, which is in turn a function of x. Okay, so for different positions, as you keep marching from the stagnation point, say somewhere, so the value of lambda keeps changing, and accordingly the value of these different thicknesses will change. Okay, so once we have estimated this, we will now substitute this into the momentum integral 1. So before that, we are going to slightly rewrite the momentum integral such that we will eliminate terms which are appearing in terms of delta. Okay, we will reconstruct the momentum integral. So what we will do is we will multiply equation 1 by delta 2 by nu on both sides and rewrite. So this term can be split as you can write this as u infinity square d delta 2 by dx, plus you can write this as 2 u infinity into delta 2 du infinity by dx, plus you have delta 1 u infinity du infinity by dx is equal to, so if you multiply, so delta 2 by nu delta 2 by nu, so this will become simply delta 2. Okay, now if you rearrange this, so what I am going to do, I am dividing throughout by u infinity. Okay, so the first term here will be u infinity delta 2 by nu into d delta 2 by dx, plus I can combine these two terms because du infinity by dx is common to both, okay, the second and third terms, and I can write this as 2 plus delta 1 by delta 2 into delta 2 square by nu into du infinity by dx. So I can combine the two terms in this way. So the first term will be twice, so I am dividing by u infinity, so twice delta 2 square by nu into du infinity by dx. The second term, the third term here will be, so basically delta 2 cancels, so this is delta 1 delta 2 by nu into du infinity by dx. Okay, it is just a little bit of rewriting. On the right hand side I have delta 2 by u infinity into du by. Okay, now this is my modified, slightly modified form of the momentum integral equation, which I will number as number 7. Okay, now the reason why we are rewriting this is now these are in terms of delta 1 by delta 2. Okay, and delta 1 by delta 2 will eliminate basically delta. Okay, and even terms like delta 2 square into du infinity by dx is actually can be written in terms of lambda and this particular expression. So all of them will not finally involve an expression for delta. Okay. So now I am going to introduce certain terms here just to simplify the equation. I am going to say that delta 2 square by nu, I will call this as some parameter z, and this entire factor here as a parameter k. Okay, so and since k is a function of lambda, because now k is a function of delta 2 square d infinity by dx, which is nothing but a function of lambda. Okay, so k is a function of lambda, and I will express this ratio delta 1 by delta 2 as some function of k, which is also a function of lambda basically indirectly. Okay, if I write f1 as a function of k, which is nothing but a function of lambda, and the term on the right hand side I will call this as another function f2, which is a function of k, which is nothing but a function of lambda. So therefore my z is equal to del 2 square by nu, and my k is nothing but z into du infinity by dx, and my k is equal to now I can rewrite this k. Now this k is z into du infinity by dx. I can rewrite this in terms of delta 2 by delta the whole square into lambda, because this du infinity by dx I can write this as lambda into nu by delta square. Okay, so already the z is delta 2 square by nu cancel, so you have delta 2 by delta the whole square into lambda. So therefore I can express my k in terms of lambda directly. Okay, so once again you see now the k is in terms of delta 2 by delta. Okay, and f1 of k, which I have introduced here, is nothing but delta 1 by delta 2. Okay, now we have got expressions for delta 1 by delta, delta 2 by delta, so I am just going to take the ratio of these two. Okay, so this comes out as 63 into 3 minus lambda by 12 by this is 15 minus lambda square by 144. Okay, so this is just the ratio of delta 1 by delta 2. Okay, and now my f2 of k is nothing but delta 2 by u infinity into du by dy at y equal to 0. This is my RHS term. So even this can be written. So du by dy at y equal to 0 we have already determined, that was coming out as 2 plus lambda by 6 if you remember. Okay, so this is nothing but delta 2 by u infinity into du by d eta. Okay, into, so in fact this is the du by d eta into at eta equal to 0 into d eta by dy. Okay, so du by, we have already the polynomial for u, if you put that you will get 1 by 63 2 plus lambda by 6 into 37 by 5 minus lambda by 15 minus lambda square by 144. So this will be the expression for f2 of k. Okay, So this du by d eta at eta equal to 0 we have already derived, that is 2 plus lambda by 6. Okay, we have differentiated the profile in the previous step. You can check that we have differentiated the profile, and at y equal to 0 that comes out as u infinity by delta into 2 plus lambda by 6, and u infinity there cancels, so this becomes ratio of delta 2 by delta. Okay, so this which is nothing but this expression right here, 1 by 63. Okay, okay, if you are having problem I will just maybe expand it. So this will be delta 2 by u infinity into u infinity by delta into 2 plus lambda by 6. Okay, so this entire term right here is this. Okay, this is from the previous step when we calculated du by d eta at eta equal to 0 into d eta by dy is this entire expression. Okay, this is multiplied, so u infinity this cancels. Now this is 2 plus lambda by 6 into delta 2 by delta. So we have already derived an expression for delta 2 by delta in terms of lambda. So this gives you the final expression for, so now we have expressed everything in terms of lambda. Okay, so z is a function of delta 2 square and delta 2 is a function of lambda, k is a function of lambda, f1 is a function of lambda, f2 is a function of lambda. Okay, so now that we have everything, so we can substitute these expressions into the momentum integral equation of the form 7, and probably, as you might have guessed by now, we cannot solve this equation by hand. Okay, so this is a tedious expression, so we will once again have to use the numerical method to solve it. So I will just cast it in the final form. So I can write my delta 2 d delta 2 by dx in terms of z. Okay, so I have z is delta 2 square by nu, therefore dz by dx will be twice delta 2 into d delta 2 by dx. Okay, so this will be half of what, dz by dx. Okay, so substituting into equation number 7, I can write this as half of u infinity into dz by dx. Okay, so I am writing this in terms of z here, and the other terms we cannot do anything, they are just there as it is, algebraic terms. So this will be 2 plus f1, okay, 2 plus f1 of k multiplied by k, this entire term is k. On the right hand side you have f2 of k. Okay, now k is a function of lambda, so therefore this can be written as dz by dx is equal to h of k by u infinity, where my h of k is nothing but what, 2 f2 minus 2 times 2 plus f1 into k. Okay, so this is the final ordinary differential equation that I have to solve, okay, in order to get the value of z, and now z is nothing but delta 2, which is nothing but the momentum thickness. Okay, so once you get your momentum thickness from this expression, you know for a particular value of delta 2 you can calculate the corresponding value of lambda, and therefore you can calculate your delta 1 and also your delta. Okay, so this is how it goes. You know, you have to solve this ODE for different values of z, and you know now z can be expressed in terms of lambda. Okay, so for that particular value of z you have to solve for lambda, and then you calculate the other expressions for displacement thickness and the boundary layer thickness. So this is how we have to numerically solve this equation. Okay, so to just give an example, in fact if you just happen to see this particular equation, this h of k can be predetermined before. It can be solved and kept as a table because it is purely a function of k, which is a function of lambda. So for different values of lambda between minus 12 and 12 you can get all these functions, right? You can calculate. Now this is a function of what? F2, F1 and k. Okay, so you can get expressions for k, F2, F1, everything as a function of lambda, put it in a nice table, and therefore you can determine h of k directly. Okay, so now this can be arranged as a table. Now every time that you solve for new value of z, you put the corresponding value of h of k corresponding to that value of lambda. Okay, and then get the new value of z, and from there you determine your delta, and therefore you determine the new value of lambda. So from the lookup table you can keep on taking the current value of h of k. Okay, so in fact all this had been tabulated by Holstein and Bolin, and if you happen to look at the book by Boundary Layer Theory by Schlichting, so he has mentioned, he has tabulated all these values, f1, f2, k, h of k as a function of lambda. Okay, this has been tabulated. In fact you yourself can do that as a very nice exercise. This is not difficult. You take values of lambda between minus 12 and 12, calculate all these parameters, you just create a table, and once you do that, every time you solve for new value of z and you calculate new value of lambda, you have to simply take the value of h corresponding to that lambda, that's it. Okay, so like that you keep marching. So this is also a marching problem. You start from some point, maybe the stagnation point, and from there you keep marching for different values of x. So for each value of x you get a new value of z, your new value of delta 2, delta 1, delta, like that you keep marching till separation. Okay, so how do you know whether it is separated? So by each value of z you now calculate the new value of lambda. If your lambda comes out to be minus 12, that means that at that point the flow has separated. Okay, so this can be applied to any kind of pressure gradients, adverse or favorable. For favorable it is restricted to a maximum value of lambda equal to 12. Okay, for adverse pressure gradient it is restricted up to the point of separation, that is up to lambda equal to minus 12. So using this let us quickly apply this to a small case where it is flow past a circular cylinder, and we will see how we can use this algorithm to calculate all the parameters. Okay, so I am just going to use this final expression here. So flow past circular cylinder, so this is your cylinder with radius, let us call r0 and theta. So therefore the coordinate that we are talking about x is basically the angular coordinate, the swept by the sector, that is nothing but r theta. Okay, and when it is approaching the cylinder, the flow has a velocity, a constant velocity v infinity, t infinity. Now once it encounters the stagnation and starts flowing past this, then this becomes the free stream velocity, which is a function of x. Okay, so for this particular problem, if you are looking at a region close to the stagnation point, how are we going to find the solution to the stagnation point problem? So once again, in the similarity solution we did this. Okay, we took the stagnation flow for the Falkner-Scan solution and we have transformed that to a cylindrical coordinate system, and that gave us the solution for the stagnation region, skin friction coefficient as well as the Nusselt number. So here similar way we will assume a profile from the inviscid potential flow, which is nothing but x by r naught. Okay, so at x is equal to 0, so this becomes 0, and at x is equal to r naught by 2, so this becomes exactly equal to twice of u infinity. Okay, so for this particular case we are going to look at for the region close to stagnation point. So I can replace my sign x by r naught as x by r naught, for small values of x by r naught. So therefore u infinity of x in that particular region will be 2 v infinity into x by r naught. This is valid only close to the stagnation region, where your x by r naught is very small. So the condition is x by r naught is quite small. Now the velocity distribution we have already determined, and we have also determined the final expression for dz by dx. Now if you are smart enough and you quickly observe, now your u infinity now here is a function of x, and at stagnation point your u infinity is 0. Okay, so for this expression to be finite, okay, if u infinity goes to 0, that means dz by dx goes to 0 at stagnation point. To avoid that, h of k should go to 0. Okay, so therefore at the stagnation point the condition is, for the circular cylinder case, h of k has to be 0. So we already have the expression for h of k, which is nothing but this. This has to be 0, so that means 2 f2 of k minus 2 into 2 plus f1 of k equal to 0. So if you substitute for f1, f2 and k in terms of lambda, you will get a nice cubic polynomial, cubic algebraic equation in terms of lambda. This will be 147.4 lambda square So this is the resulting algebraic expression that you will get if you substitute for f1, f2. So if you solve this algebraic equation, you will get 3 roots, because it is a cubic polynomial. You will get value of lambda. One of the roots will be 7.052, the second root will be 17.75, third root will be minus 70. Okay, since our region of interest is minus 12 to 12, we will ignore these 2 roots, we will take only the root which gives you 7.052. Therefore the value of 7 lambda equal to 7.052 corresponds to the stagnation point. Okay, this is the value of lambda at stagnation point. Please remember that at the stagnation point also there is a certain value of the boundary layer thickness. Boundary layer thickness is not 0, because here the flow comes like this and it divides like this. If you remember the 2D stagnation flow for the Falkner-Scan-Wedge problem, where your m is equal to 1, okay, the flow comes like this and it bifurcates, okay, and here the boundary layer thickness is not 0, okay, at the stagnation point, okay, and corresponding to that you have a finite value of lambda, which is 7.052. okay. So this value of lambda corresponds to a particular value of delta, in fact, okay. So you can calculate the value of boundary layer thickness for this particular value of lambda. Now how do we do that? How do we calculate the value of delta? So we already have an expression for lambda, which is nothing but del square by nu into du infinity by dx. You remember, this is how we defined our lambda, okay. So once you have your lambda, you can directly calculate your delta from here, okay, because you know for this particular problem what is the free stream velocity gradient, okay. So therefore your delta square will be nu lambda by which will be nothing but u lambda. For this problem it will be 2 v infinity r naught. Okay, so this is your profile. Alright, so therefore your delta square will be nothing but, if you substitute the value of lambda 7.052 at the stagnation region, your delta square will be 3.526 into v r naught by u infinity. Okay, so if you multiply and divide by r naught, you can write this in terms of the Reynolds number. Now u infinity r naught by nu. So this becomes the Reynolds number. So you can get an expression for delta by r naught in terms of the Reynolds number. Okay, so this is how you get the expression for delta, and now once you get it, this is valid only for the stagnation point or the region which is very close to the stagnation point. Now if you are interested in calculating the flow past the cylinder from the stagnation point all the way where it separates, okay, so it may separate somewhere here, for example, maybe at 75 degrees. Okay, so till separation you can use this technique to march forward and calculate the value of boundary layer thickness, the displacement thickness, momentum thickness. Also you can calculate the separation point, okay, the location where exactly it separates. Okay, for that you have to use the complete velocity profile. Okay, so use the full velocity profile and you have to solve this ODE numerically. So you start from the stagnation point. At the stagnation point you know the value of delta from this expression. Okay, so you know the corresponding value of delta 2 and therefore you know the value of z. Okay, so at the stagnation point you know the value of lambda, you know the value of delta, so you can calculate the value of delta 2. Okay, therefore you can calculate the value of z. So that is your initial condition. Okay, you start from there, you march from the stagnation point, you keep solving this ODE by Euler's method, you can get the value of z at each of those locations. For example, you can discretize this into 100 points, for example. Okay, I am not putting 100 points, I am just giving a rough estimation. So for each of these points you can calculate z, and on the right hand side this is the value of z for the previous point. Okay, so h of k corresponding to the previous point. So every time you calculate z, now you have to calculate the new value of lambda. Okay, so for that we can use the expression z is equal to delta 2 square by nu, and okay, so let me erase this. Okay, so delta 2 square I am substituting from here. Okay, so this is nothing but this into delta square, and delta square is nothing but this particular expression right here. Okay, so I am combining this expression where I can calculate delta and put it into this, I can calculate my delta 2, and from there I can determine my relation between lambda and z. So for a given problem this is all fixed. Okay, now the value of lambda is to be determined. Okay, so for a given value of z that you solve, so this equation is an algebraic equation. Now this is not so straightforward to solve by hand, you have to solve it iteratively. Again you can use some numerical method like Newton's method or bisection method. Okay, solve this iteratively for the latest value of lambda at that value of z. So now this will become, from this value of lambda you have already prepared the lookup table, you can calculate the latest value of h, and now you can go to the next point, get the value of z, and again keep doing it. So till you reach a point where lambda reaches minus 12. Okay, at that point you stop. Okay, so this is how you determine where exactly the separation happens, and also the corresponding values of all the three thicknesses: boundary layer, displacement, and momentum. Okay, so with that I think we will stop here, and tomorrow we will continue from this point to the heat transfer problem.